98.3 FM and 1340 AM KIHR and GorgeRadio.com presents the Mid-Columbia Today Show with Mark Bailey. Special thanks to our sponsors, Skyline Hospital, Eastside Paving, and Del Carpine Automotive. Now, here's Mark Bailey.
It is 8:05. Good morning. I'm Mark Bailey, Mid-Columbia Mornings. It becomes Mid-Columbia Today when we're on air. On the podcast, it is Mid-Columbia Today, of course, anytime you want. But here's what we're doing on this particular show. First half, Liz Wilber, Columbia Cascade Housing Corporation Housing Resource Center Manager, is going to join us. Going to talk about, first of all, the Housing Resource Center programs that they have and are available throughout the region. And also, we are going to discuss a community land trust model project in Carson. And we'll talk about what the community land trust model is. We've talked about it on this show with various organizations, Big River Community Land Trust most notably, but there are others as well. And we will talk about what they've got planned in the Carson area. Second half of the show, Robert Jamack from the Mid-Columbia Football Official Association is going to be our guest because, you know, it is it's that time again. It's football season's coming. NFL teams are in camps, by the way. But, of course, local area, high school football, and as usual, there's a need for officials. They have their first meeting tonight, by the way, at Spookies in the Dalles at 6 o'clock. If you ever thought about it, good time to do it. They are looking for help. They need more bodies to cover everything. It's not just high schools. And also, it's not just football, by the way. Every sport has a need for this. It is one of the great challenges now in high school athletics and youth sports in general is to find people who are willing to officiate. So we'll have Robert with us in the second half of the show. We'll talk about what they need and what you can do. You can be an official. Yes, you can. They'll teach you. However, before we do any of this, let's tell you about this day as men and what it means, at least to some people. 1836, the newly completed Arc de Triomphe was inaugurated in Paris. 1914, transcontinental telephone service in the U.S. became operational with the first test conversation between New York and San Francisco. 1954, the first volume of J.R.R. Tolkien's novel The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, was published. 1958, President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed the National Aeronautics and Space Act, creating NASA. 1967, on this date, an accidental rocket launch on the deck of the supercarrier USS Forrestal at the Gulf of Tonkin resulted in a fire and explosions that killed 134 service members. 1981, Britain's Prince Charles married Lady Diana Spencer in a glittering ceremony at St. Paul's Cathedral in London. Of course, you well know they divorced 15 years later. 1986, a federal jury in New York found that the National Football League had committed an antitrust violation against the rival United States Football League. But the jury ordered the NFL to pay token damages of just $3. And the USFL was never heard from again. I could go into whose idea it was that, they should do this lawsuit and the USFL should play in the fall. You've heard of the guy. 1999, a former day trader, apparently upset over stock losses, opened fire in 2 Atlanta brokerage offices, killing 9 people and wounding 13 before shooting himself. Authorities say Marco Barton also killed his wife and 2 children. 2016, former suburban Chicago police officer Drew Peterson was given an additional 40 years in prison for trying to hire someone to kill the prosecutor who put him behind bars for killing his 3rd wife. And in 2021, American Sunisa Lee won the gold medal in women's all-around gymnastics at the Tokyo Games. She was the 5th straight American woman to claim the Olympic title in the event. Days for today, it's International Tiger Day today. It's also National Lipstick Day today. And it's Rain Day today. Now, apparently this is a town in Pennsylvania is why it's called Rain Day. Some guy years ago, it was on his birthday, and he was a farmer, and he hoped it rained on his birthday. And it became a thing in this town, and they celebrate this now every day. They've been keeping track, I guess, for years of how many days in July it has actually rained on Rain Day. I did not bother to pull all the statistics on that. But nonetheless, we could use a little rain around here, most certainly. Our food for today, I hesitate to bring this one up because this just gets us into the debate, and everybody knows my opinion on this, and it's not a popular opinion. It's National Chicken Wing Day. So go have your chicken wings. You can have mine, too, while you're at it. I know better than to get into this. I just catch flack every time I bring it up. It's also National Lasagna Day today, which makes me think of Garfield the cat, by the way. The cartoon at Garfield loved lasagna. Or loves lasagna. I think it's still being done, the cartoon. I miss cartoons in newspapers, by the way. I do, in the daily newspaper, but not having those the way you used to. There was always that laugh you could get. There were the dramatic comics that you moved along 4 panels a day for 5 years, the same storyline. Those were painful. I get why you might not want those. And there were a few that you always liked, and then there were a couple you always were like, oh, I don't get it. But that's okay. That's all right. But I miss the comics. I got comics in the newspaper from lasagna. I'm a trained professional. Don't try that at home. It is now 8:11 in the morning. When we come back, Liz Wilber, Columbia Cascade Housing Corporation, our scheduled guest. We'll talk to her next.
At Ground Coffee, we wake up every morning to make our famous breakfast sandwiches and lunches. Everything is made to order from scratch. We even roast our own coffee. Do you or someone you know need work? At Ground Coffee, we are hiring baristas to work with our awesome team. We pay well and the tips are great. And what I love about working here is my hours are flexible so I can enjoy life and work at a great place. Is it time for you to get back into the workforce? Because we're ready for you. Call us or stop in and introduce yourself. Ground Coffee in Hood River. Come work for us.
Mid-Columbia Today is a public affairs program of Bi-Coastal Media Columbia River, 98.3 FM and 1340 AM KIHR and GorgeRadio.com. Now, back to Mark Bailey.
And we are back at 8:13 in the morning on MCT. We're joined by the Housing Resource Center Manager for Columbia Cascade Housing Corporation. Liz Wilber is with us on the program. Good morning, Liz.
Good morning.
Well, thank you for being with us. We appreciate it. And let's just start out, first of all, Housing Resource Center, Columbia Cascade Housing Corporation. Actually, I'm going to step back even further. Columbia Cascade Housing Corporation, for those who are not familiar, tell us about what it is, because it's part of a group of organizational names that kind of depends on which side of the river you're on, what you use.
Right. So Columbia Cascade Housing Corporation is a nonprofit. And we are all about housing for low-income families in the Columbia River Gorge. So we cover Sherman, Wasco, and Hood River counties in Oregon, and Klickitat and Skamania counties in Washington, providing affordable, low-income housing for families includes our rental units. We have 24 properties. We're currently building property number 25 in Hood River, Mariposa Village. And the Housing Resource Center focuses on all things homeownership. Mm-hmm. So that's what we do.
When you say affordable and low income, and maybe this differs from depending on what you're doing within the organization, but for your purposes, how do you define that?
So for the Housing Resource Center, which I'll speak about because that's my area of expertise, it honestly depends upon the grant that we have. Most of the time, low income is defined as 80% of area median income or below. We have had programs that will go up as high as 100% area median income.
I mean, I ask that simply because, housing prices, and you're well aware of this, in the Gorge, it's difficult right now, isn't it? For people, they can have good, high-quality jobs, really, and it can be difficult to find some place to live.
It's really difficult to find an affordable place to live, and it's extremely difficult to purchase a home. And Housing Resource Center tries to help people purchase homes. We help people repair their homes if they're low income and they own a home that needs repair. Area median income is a difficult concept for most people. I've only been in this position not even a year and a half, and it took me a while to understand it. It varies based on county. So, what we recommend is that everybody reach out to us and let us have a conversation with you and let you know if you're eligible for our programs. Some of our programs are not income dependent, so we offer pre-purchase homebuyer counseling to anyone in our 5-county region, and we also have a homebuyer education class that we run 8 times a year on a Saturday, and that's for first-time homebuyers, and it tells them all about all the things involved in buying a home, and that is also open to anyone, regardless of income, and our foreclosure prevention programs are also open to anyone, regardless of income. And we've also recently added financial literacy counseling, which is open to anyone, regardless of income. So I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that even though our goal is to help low-income folks purchase homes, that's one of the goals of the Housing Resource Center.
Sure.
And another goal of the Housing Resource Center is to help people gain home ownership and maintain stable home ownership.
Do you find people right now at times will look around at the housing market in the Columbia River Gorge and almost lose hope and maybe not realize that there is some help out there?
I think that's very accurate. When you're looking at a place like Hood River or, even areas in Skamania County and look at what the median price is for a home, people get really, really discouraged. I'm encouraged by the fact that we have been getting a lot of inquiries lately about down payment assistance, which means that people are hearing about our programs, and often they hear about our programs from their realtor or from their lender. And the amount of people that we hear from on a regular basis indicates the real need for people to have a little bit of help to purchase their home. We recently had a down payment assistance program, and I think we provided about $3 million in down payment assistance to first-time homebuyers on the Oregon side of the gorge. So the programs work, and they definitely help people purchase homes.
I take it, how those programs work probably vary depending on where you're getting the grant from and who's providing it and when.
Right, and that I really appreciate that question, Mark, because this is a point I can't emphasize enough. We are beholden to the grant and to the grant cycle. So while we recently had very robust down payment assistance, we currently are done with the program. And that was through the state of Oregon Housing and Community Services. And, as we all know, state budgets are struggling right now. And so it's looking like we will not have down payment assistance. But there is down payment assistance through the state, through the Oregon Flex Lending Program. And that program does require people attend homebuyer education. But the grants are cycling through all the time. And the best advice I can give people is to check our website. We do update it regularly with what programs we have available. People can always reach out if they have questions. My amazing housing counselor, Salvador Cruz Torres, who honestly is a one-person show right now on the client side of things, will reach out to them, let them know the status of our programs, and if we don't have any programs that can help right now, we'll put them on the list, and as soon as we have a program, we'll reach out to people. I wish it weren't that way. I wish there was a steady stream of funding, but unfortunately, that's just not the case.
Do you have tips for people, who may have to wait, but tips for people to help them get ready to make that step and they be prepared when the help is available?
Yeah, that's a great question, Mark. I would say the first step, absolutely take the homebuyer education class. Salvador teaches that, and as I mentioned, it goes through all steps of the home buying process, from what credit scores you might need, and if you don't have the minimum credit scores most lenders require, what you can do to help start repairing your credit, how much down payment is often required, where you can get down payment assistance outside of our organization, like Oregon's Flex Lending Program, what the steps are of the home buying process, what escrow is, which is something a lot of people don't know, the importance of getting a home inspection. And so there's obviously other pieces to that, but he walks potential homeowners through that entire process. And then another step people can take is they can have an appointment with him. They can set up an appointment with him to do some pre-purchase housing counseling, which is an opportunity to sit down one-on-one, look more in depth at your personal finances, and have a conversation about timeline, looking at the budget, what things might need to be cut out, like your daily Starbucks coffee, in order to start potentially saving for a down payment assistance. For down payment. So those are some steps, absolutely, that people can take.
Liz Wilber is with us from Columbia Cascade Housing Corporation, the Housing Resource Center manager. You mentioned the home buyer education course that's being taught. How often does that get offered, and what sort of things do get covered in that? Because I remember, it's been a lot of years now, when we bought our house in this area, my wife and I remember reading every document because, quite frankly, I assumed everybody that was involved in the transaction was looking to get a little bit more of my money.
Right. That's a really good point. I think a lot of times when people embark on a mission like purchasing a home, it can be very, very overwhelming, the paperwork alone. And so those are some of the things that are covered, the pros and cons of owning a home, because we recognize that owning a home is not for everyone. Whether or not homeownership aligns with someone's current lifestyle, their goals, their financial situation, the steps in the home buying process, including working with the real estate professionals, making an offer, like I said, getting the inspection, which would of course come before the offer, all the steps of closing, the mortgage loan process, like types of loans, qualifying criteria, application steps, and then all of the things that come after owning a home, like budgeting for maintenance, budgeting for property taxes, homeowners insurance, and long-term financial planning. So those are some of the things. I apologize, my dog is losing his mind in the background. Things that are covered in the class. Our next homebuyer education class is scheduled for August 22nd. We hold them at Columbia Gorge Community College. That one will be in Spanish. We have a class on October 17th that will be in Spanish as well, and then November 21st we will have an English class, and the October and November classes are held in Hood River. People can go to our website. It's a long one, Columbia Cascade Housing Corp.org, and click on our Homeownership Resources tab. And we have tiles for everything that we offer, including the home buyer education class schedule. Registration for that class is done through Columbia Gorge Community College, and all of that information is on the website.
Also, it was mentioned to me that you've got a community land trust model project going on in Carson. Maybe first, for people who aren't quite familiar, we've talked about this concept on our show before. What a community land trust is.
Sure. So a community land trust means that Columbia Cascade Housing Corporation, in this case, we own 7 acres in beautiful Carson, Washington, and Skamania County. And we are going to be building 14 single-family homes, and we will be selling those homes to qualified households And the households will be purchasing the improvements. So they will purchase the physical house, but Columbia Cascade Housing Corporation will retain ownership of the land. And what this means for homeowners is that the cost of home ownership is lower than it would be to purchase both the land and the home. Because Columbia Cascade Housing Corporation owns the land, homeowners will also enter into what is called a ground lease. And a ground lease is a 99-year agreement with the homeowner that states that they will own the home, they will take care of the home, they will stay current on their mortgage and their taxes and their homeowner's insurance, and they will be able to live in the home and treat the home as their own because it is their own. They want to put a fence up. If it's allowable in Carson, they can put a fence up, for example. They want a dog. It's allowable in Carson. They can get a dog. But that ground lease also ensures that these homes will remain affordable. And one way that that happens is that we have an equity cap. So when somebody purchases a home on the open market, they take a gamble, right? They purchase the home and maybe they make a lot of equity, as we've seen in the Gorge over the last 5 years for homeowners, or maybe they lose a whole lot of equity like we saw not quite 20 years ago during the real estate. When someone owns a community land trust home, the maximum equity that they can make a year is 1.5%. And the reason for that is because that is then calculated into the resale formula. So the homeowner is capped at the equity they can make, which means that the new homeowner will be able to purchase the home at an affordable price. But really interestingly, studies have shown that community land trust homeownership not only provides affordable homeownership to people who often would not be able to afford to buy a home, foreclosure rates are significantly lower than homeownership on the open market. And that was true also in the real estate bust. And most people, when they sell a community land trust home, they do go and buy a home on the open market. So sometimes people are a little bit concerned about that equity cap, but it normally does not prevent people from being able to purchase a larger home and a home on the open market.
So how big is this project going to be in Carson that's being planned?
So we're going to have 14 single-family homes. Mm-hmm. We anticipate the majority of the homes are going to be 3-bedroom. Please don't ask me what the average square foot is because we're still working on finalizing the plan.
Well, I won't go there.
But I would say that they're going to be brand new, stick-built homes for people making 80% of the Skamania County area median income or below. And I'll give you an example of that. So a family of 3 in Skamania County, the maximum income to be eligible for this project is $92,400. So when we hear low income, that number might be surprising. But we're hoping that we are able to get 14 households into these homes over the course of 2027, maybe into early 2028.
I'll say, where exactly are you in the process? Sounds like you're reasonably down the line here, and that you may not know exact square footage, but you've got an idea on design. Right. Are we in the design phase at this point?
Yeah, I would say we're still in the design phase at this point. As we have gotten information in, we've gotten over 70 people who have expressed interest in this project so far, which is really exciting. We're looking at that data to determine what households in the area need regarding bedroom size, for example, and things like. We have gotten funding, 2 sources of funding from the state of Washington, Department of Commerce. So we're looking at breaking ground on infrastructure, hopefully maybe late 2026, early 2027, with the goal of getting the first homes built. I would say a year from now, we will probably be selling the first homes to our homeowners. There is a website devoted to the land trust. It's CarsonCommunityLandTrust.com. and people can go there and see a rendering of what the homes might look like. And they can sign up for the interest list, and they can get a whole lot of information about how community land trusts work. And one of the things that I also should have mentioned when we were talking about the ground lease is that homeowners do pay a low monthly ground lease fee. We're planning that at about $65 a month right now for homeowners as well. So that is a part of the process. Homeowners not only to be eligible have to be 80% area median income or below, they also have to be first-time home buyers, and they do need to be mortgage ready. But that's where the Housing Resource Center really comes into play, because we will be working with those homeowners, those potential homeowners, to help them get homeownership ready.
I'd be curious to know, obviously I would assume that the money that came for this was targeted for Skamania County. I bet I know the answer to this, but I may be wrong. Why was Carson selected? Was it simply land availability?
We've owned land there designated for community land trust for a long time. And the team has come together. I've been at Columbia Cascade Housing Corporation now for not quite a year and a half. Our director of real estate development has been there a little bit more than a year. And our executive director has been in her position for about 2 years. So the team has now coalesced and been able to move some of these projects forward. So this has been the plan for the property in Carson for quite a while. So we've owned the land, and then we went ahead and applied for funding to be able to build on that property. People do not have to be residents of Skamania County to be eligible to purchase a home. It's in this community. And it is located just north of the Wind River Middle School, for anybody who's familiar with Carson.
Okay, so
we also have other pieces of land designated for community land trust properties on the Oregon side, as well as others in Washington. But one of the things I'm learning in affordable home ownership, again, I'm pretty new to the space, it hasn't even been a year and a half, is that funding is a boondoggle. And we apply for grants. We don't always get the grants we apply for, and if we don't get the grant, then we have to wait a year. And we had applied for the grants for quite a while, for a few years for Carson. And now we got them. So we're really excited to be able to move forward.
Liz Wilber is the Housing Resource Manager at Columbia Cascade Housing Corporation. Again, the land trust in Carson, CarsonCommunityLandTrust.com is where you can get more details on that. And Columbia Gorge Housing Corp.org. Columbia Cascade Housing Corp.org is the website address to find out about the programs that you've got and and especially the homeowner education program to learn all the ABCs of buying a home. Liz, thanks for doing this. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it.
It is 8:34 in the morning. We'll come back. Quick check of news after this.
Hi, this is Michelle from Hood River Supply. Not only are we Hood River's go-to for hardware, supplies, rentals, and more, we're also your local stop to fuel up and hit the road. Our Cenex Roadmaster XL Premium Diesel Fuel and Cenex Maxtron Diesel Engine Oil work together to deliver power, performance, and protection for your cars, trucks, and hardworking equipment. Drive farther, run stronger, trust the fuel and products built to keep you moving. Available at Hood River Supply on the Heights and in Odell, your co-op store.
The nominations are in and finalists have moved to the voting round for Best of the Gorge 2026. Visit bestofthegorge.com and vote for your favorites. Find a full list of campaign categories and finalist names to select from at bestofthegorge.com. Vote for as many as you want, once a day, every day. It's easy, and you'll help your favorites win the title of Best of the Gorge 2026. Voting ends at 5 o'clock today, so hurry to bestofthegorge.com.
Coffee for Mid-Columbia Today guests is provided by Hood River Coffee Roasters, the Gorge's local coffee roasters, on Tucker Road on the Heights in Hood River.
8:37 in the morning. We're running a little bit behind here, but we will get to Robert Jamack from the Mid-Columbia Football Official Association here in just a few minutes. First of all, though, let's take a look at what's in the news. It's fire-dominated here. More than 1 million acres are burning across Oregon as firefighters battle dozens of wildfires statewide, taking advantage of calmer weather and fewer thunderstorms. On the Warm Springs Reservation, the Bench and Beachcomb fires emerged into one blaze, covering more than 45,000 acres. That fire has destroyed 6 homes and 5 other structures, with Level 3 evacuation orders still in place for parts of the reservation. The Roe Creek Complex east of Madras has grown nearly 300,000 acres. More than 1,300 firefighters working to protect communities, and a stretch of Highway 26 remains closed because of fire activity. The Big Grass Fire in eastern Oregon remains the state's largest, burning more than 300,000 acres in Malheur County and southwest Idaho. Other major fires include the Akawa Butte Fire near Sisters, the Hagen Fire in Umatilla County, multiple blazes near Baker City. Officials on the Grasshopper Fire in Wasco County in the Mount Hood National Forest saying firefighters held the existing line that protects Pine Hollow and Sportsman's Park in spite of significant winds on Tuesday, with help from numerous aircraft. The 13,612-acre fire did spread northward to Jordan Butte. 3 hotshot crews worked into the night north of the Pine Hollow Airport to construct line northward and stop the eastward spread. 5 night shift engines continued suppression actions through the night. Oregon State Fire Marshal Task Force groups are still working 24-hour shifts for structure protection. A complex incident management team arrived yesterday. They'll be taking command of the fire in the near future. Fire crews continue making progress on the Little Buck Fire in the Hay Creek Complex, which now has burned more than 36,000 acres. The Wasco County Sheriff's Office reduced several evacuation levels in the area of that fire. Meanwhile, the Wasco County Sheriff's Office says the 10-mile fire near Trout Creek and the nearby 586 fire are both fully contained. The Oregon National Guard expanding its wildfire response, activating about 20 additional service members and 4 helicopters to assist firefighters across the state. Governor Tina Kotek says it's all hands on deck. 2 Blackhawk helicopters from Salem, 2 Chinook helicopters from Pendleton have been deployed to support firefighting efforts on the Hagen Fire in Umatilla County. The aircraft will use water buckets for aerial fire suppression. Current temperatures, 62 in Stevenson, 65 in the Dalles, 64 in Hood River. Mid-Columbia mornings time, 8:39.
Hey, it's Zach from Del Carpine Automotive. You know those tall Sprinter vans that look like they could secretly double as apartments? Yeah, we work on those, and we know them really well. Whether it's your adventure rig, work van, or mystery mobile full of camping gear and snacks from 2022, we've got you covered. We're now just 10 minutes up the hill in our great new location in Hood River. Come see us. From Mercedes and Ford, big rigs to Sprinters, no jobs too big or small. At Del Carpine, we work on them all. Family owned and locally trusted.
Hi, I'm Tennille with Atlas Solutions. You know what QuickBooks has never done? Laughed at your jokes. Or asked you how business or harvest is going, or stopped by your office to help solve a problem. Software has its place, but when it comes to bookkeeping and payroll, nothing beats a real local person who actually knows your business. As a 4th-generation Gorge resident, I love helping our small businesses and farms succeed. In fact, we were voted best tax service in the Gorge. So let us at Atlas Solutions do the heavy lifting for you.
Mid-Columbia Today is a public affairs program of Bi-Coastal Media Columbia River, 98.3 FM and 1340 AM KIHR and GorgeRadio.com. Now, back to Mark Bailey.
It is now 8:41 in the morning. We have now with us from the Mid-Columbia Football Association, Robert Jamack joins us. Good morning, Robert.
Morning, Mark. How are you?
All right, how are you doing today?
Oh, not too bad.
Well, it's that time of year again. We're headed to football season, and actually you guys I've been mentioning on the show that you're meeting for the first time tonight at Spookies in the Dalles, I believe at 6 o'clock in the evening. And we've talked about this before, and we've talked about this for a lot of prep sports in the area, but there is a need for officials out there, isn't there?
More than ever, honestly. We're extremely short this season.
First of all, for people who aren't familiar, I say you cover the high schools in the area, but I think you do a little bit more than that. Where do you guys go for games and who you service out there?
The schools we service are here in the local Gorge area, so Hood River, the Dalles, Dufur, South Wasco, Sherman, Condon, and then Lyle, They are an OSA school, but on the Washington side, and then Goldendale and White Salmon.
And we should note it's much more than the Friday nights that people maybe notice and hear about.
Yeah, we've got the JV programs usually play on a Monday, and middle schools for a lot of these areas play usually Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday right in there.
Mm-hmm. So with that, how many games a week do you guys have to cover?
Usually, probably with all the games, we could cover 3 to 4 games. Well, a single official could have up to 3 to 4 games during the week.
Wow. I mean, as you start to get down to those lower levels, obviously, with the middle schools, the numbers that you need start to add up, obviously, at that point. How many officials go to a game?
For the middle school, it's a 4-official crew. For all high school, it's 5-man.
5 officials that they're at each game.
Yep.
So, I guess, how much knowledge does one really need to get into this? I mean, I think that would be one of the first maybe hesitancies people might have is, do I know enough about this to be able to do this? The biggest thing I think when it comes to knowledge is, again, we're going to train you up in how to officiate. The biggest, I think, encounter is don't try to bring in what you see on Saturday and Sunday television for football. Mm-hmm. High school and middle school uses the high school rules. The rules are different. Mm-hmm. So just don't bring yourself into hey, I watch, the Ducks on Saturday and the Seahawks on Sunday, and think the rule base there is the biggest thing. Well, yeah. Football is truly the only sport I know where, frankly, what the rules are almost depend on literally what day you watch, because even as simply as what's in bounds for a catch is different at each level.
Exactly. 1 foot in high school, in college, pro, you got to have both feet down.
Right. So, what does it take for someone to get started in this? Because there's always those steps you have to prepare for. How do you train officials when they come into this?
We've got a training program set up, obviously, through our meetings, where we discuss, mechanics for specific positions of the 5 positions that are out there. And normally, new officials will work the sidelines. Those are not to say the easiest, but are the easiest of the 5. And in regards to what they need to look for and what they're needing to do. And then we've got, there's a gentleman with the Portland Football Officials Association, creates some tremendous training videos that he sends out to all of the state associations, and we use those. We pull from Facebook, honestly, has some very good associations that put up some training video that we obviously search and look at and pull from them that are really great. Like I said, there are some associations across the U.S. that just post some phenomenal training videos, and we pull from those and teach people how to apply what they're seeing in the videos. We also do go out 2 of our meetings that we list as meeting. One of them's Hood River's Blue and Gold scrimmage. That is a good training platform, to see the action. It's obviously more controlled. Kind of feels a little chaotic a little bit than a regular game, but we're able to have, veteran officials with the new official and just, right there in their back pocket, helping them look for what they need to look for and, be able to blow the whistle, throw the flag, do the mechanics, the signals, in a real, easy, controlled environment. Mm-hmm. And then we've also got another on-field type meeting where it is just it's kind of like a walkthrough, right? We make up scenarios and just have guys walk through what they need to do.
One of the things about being the officials I've noticed, having been around some of your guys over the years, is not only is it not a bad way to make a little spending money in the process, because obviously people get paid for this, but as well, there are a lot of intangible benefits that come along with this. I know the group of officials become very close.
Yeah, the camaraderie is huge. You're basically around like-minded people, and it's a fun time. It really is. You see the 5 gentlemen out on the field, working as one strong unit. But there's the other tangibles that you don't see. You don't see the connection in the locker room, or the dinners after the games and the discussions, and just the enjoyment of officiating high school football. I mean, Friday night, it is a very fun and exciting time. It's Americana, I guess, and it's just a great thing. I mean, this is my 34th year officiating overall, and again, it's just a good time. I just wish we could get more people involved with it.
I imagine some people, there might be the hesitancy of this because, let's face it, we do hear stories about what officials go through at times. I'm happy to say I haven't seen that much of it, luckily, myself, but I know it's out there. But really, for the most part, the people you end up working with as officials, not just your fellow officials, but the coaches and players as well, for the large majority of them, they're pretty good to be around, aren't they?
They are. I would say here in Oregon, OSAA, I don't know if it's just the people in general that, are better. Obviously, there's probably 1 or 2 bad apples around, but for the most part, what you probably hear and see, we don't encounter that as much here in Oregon. And especially for us, a lot of the schools that we service, they play on the eastern side, except for Hood River, comes out of the metro. But still I don't think we encounter as much as what you're describing, and what you hear about coaches and such.
Yeah, I don't hear about it. I don't see it that much myself. Of course, I'm in the booth on Friday nights, but it's, let's face it, sometimes things make the news, and that's just kind of the way it is, but it doesn't really reflect what normally happens at a football game. Usually everybody's pretty good, and yes, people get emotional, and they are, they want to win, as we all say, but they keep under control pretty well. And I always find it's the kids who keep the best control themselves.
Exactly. It's of all the sports, I mean, let's truly be honest, football is the most intense sport of all sports out there. I mean, where else do you play, the sport of gladiators? And for that intensity and that emotion, yes, it's the players and coaches, I guess we could say, are well behaved.
Yeah. I also think part of it is also with the way most football facilities are laid out, at least the ones I'm at, because I'm up with the bigger schools at 5A and 6A. There is a nice buffer between the stands and the field of play. That helps.
Yeah, there's only there's maybe when you head out a little further eastern Oregon, a few schools that are more kind of on top of you, but again, for the most part, at least in eastern Oregon, right? You got your wheat farmers and your your good old boys, I guess, and everybody's just there they want some Friday night football. They don't want the football on Thursday and Saturday. And if we can't get officials, that's what happens.
Right.
We can cover, up to 4 games. That's where we start getting nervous.
And I mean, I know you've had times where you've had to ask schools to move games up or a day or back a day just because of that situation.
Yeah, our situation is, we've got whatever games we have scheduled, and this is something that isn't looked at, the week before. I'm looking at this weeks out, and there's protocols. We'll reach out if we can't cover what we have due to our numbers. We have a protocol. We'll reach out to other associations and see, can they assist? If they can't, then it is, you need to move. You need to slide either frontward or backward. And the other thing is, then if it can be covered, well, now that school's going to incur an increased cost because I have to bring 5 officials from out of area, and you got to pay that mileage to bring those associations in.
Yeah, sure.
And so, you go from, quite an increase just in the mileage fee part. The game fee part stays the same, but, if these schools, they're like, hey, we want our game on Friday, which I get, because, again, it's Friday Night Lights. But if we can't cover it and I have to bring somebody in and they're able to come assist us, that school's going to see an increase in cost, and we know how budgets go.
Well, yeah, and also, frankly, if you're not playing on Friday night, I know this just from all the experience over the years, especially for, I get at the 5A, 6A level. I imagine it goes all the way down to the lower levels. If you have to play on Thursday or Saturday afternoon instead of Friday night, you're going to lose ticket revenue also at the varsity level.
Exactly.
That's just a reality of it. You need to be on Friday night to maximize the revenue and to make it work.
Exactly, and to be on Friday night, the association's got to have bodies. They've got to have people that are willing to come out and do this. And, former players, if you truly love the game, this is the best way to stay involved and give back a little bit. And again, as you stated earlier, you're getting paid for this. This is, this isn't, nothing to down Little League, but, it's not volunteer. You get paid.
Robert, I'm hitting the wall here on time, unfortunately. I do have to run. So, again, tonight at 6 o'clock, Spookies in the Dalles. You're having the meeting. People can come and learn about it. I believe people go to osa.org. You can click on the officials link, and they can put their information in, and yourself or someone, wherever their appropriate association is, they will get a hold of you, you'll get a hold of them, and they can learn more about this.
Exactly, yep. They'll put in their zip code, and it'll assign to the commissioner for that zip code.
And that, of course, in case would be you for the Mid-Columbia Association. Robert Jamack, Mid-Columbia Football Association, Football Officials Association with us. Robert, thanks for doing that, and I'm sure I will see you somewhere this fall in my travels with the Eagles.
You definitely know it, partner.
All right, thanks for doing this, Robert. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark.
It is 8:57 in the morning. We'll take our break and get out of here after this.
Is it that time? The difficult moment when you realize your parents need more help than you can provide. Hi, I'm Jackie from Hawks Ridge Assisted Living, and I want you to know you don't have to do this alone. We offer compassionate care, enriching activities, and a true sense of belonging. Your parents deserve to feel comfortable, supported, and valued every single day. Come take a tour, see how Hawks Ridge can be your extended family, providing the care and dignity your loved ones deserve. Hawks Ridge and Hood River, where care feels like home.
Summer's calling. Are you ready? Fresh air, long days, and new adventures start with the right gear from Pure Stoke Sports. We've got you covered for your kind of fun in the gorge. Wind, water, trails, you'll find the hottest pair of wings from Ozone in stock now, plus gear from Petzl for your next climb. Our camping department is fully stocked, and our latest apparel is built for movement and comfort. Stop by today. Shop Pure Stoke. New and used gear for every season of adventure. 40 years and counting, we've got your gear and got your back.
Did you know Skyline Health in White Salmon has its very own sports medicine doc superstar? That's right, Dr. Ryan Petering trained at OHSU, cared for professional Nike athletes, and even spent more than 15 years teaching other doctors how it's done. From sporting injuries to arthritis, he's here to help you move better, feel stronger, and keep doing the things you love. Want to live life to its fullest? Step right up and visit myskylinehealth.org. Skyline Health, world-class care right here at home.
Tune in weekday mornings at 8:05 and keep up with community events and issues with the Mid-Columbia Today Show on Mid-Columbia's news leaders, 98.3 FM and 1340 AM KIHR. Special thanks to our sponsors, Skyline Hospital, Eastside Paving, and Del Carpine Automotive.
Just tell you who's on tomorrow. We got to get out of here. Tay Lynn Theater. Camille Lynn will join us. They've got a production coming up of Cabaret at the Columbia Center for the Arts in Hood River. Ari Gardner, Gorge Recovery, a new facility in the Dalles. We've got her rescheduled for tomorrow as well. So that's what's coming up on MCT. For Cameron Eisenberg, I'm Mark Bailey. Talk to you again on Thursday.
Columbia Today Show is a public affairs presentation of Bicoastal Media Columbia River. The views expressed on the program are not necessarily those of the station, parent company, or of the sponsors. We welcome your suggestions for future shows. Call us at 541-386-1511. Listen to Mid-Columbia Today where you want. Follow or subscribe to Mid-Columbia Today wherever you download your podcast to get the show delivered every day to your mobile device.